Welcome back to the poker vlog. This is episode number 358. For this one, we're playing a high stakes 25-25-50 session at Aria with a poker icon. But before we get started, I've got a couple of announcements to make. I just won a 10K seat into the WPT World Championship. I won it in a satellite on Gold. It was an 1100 buy-in. There were 5 seats guaranteed. I snuck in there and got 5th. I was streaming pretty much all of it, but at the very end, YouTube cut it off. Unfortunately, I continued filming though on my own, and then I put together a mini vlog of it that is up on my second channel, Brado and Clips. So pinned down below in the comment section, I'll have a link to that video if you want to check it out. But there's all sorts of cool things happening on Gold right now. Be sure to join using my name, Brad. That way you'll get extra perks, including a purchase bonus. There's a Brado and Open that's taking place Monday through Saturday. It's a 110 buy-in with a 12.5K guarantee. If you join using my name and you get in the top 3, you get a 1K bonus. So 2 people have already gotten that, and we've only been doing it for a week. Congratulations to them. Also, there's the mystery quest going on right now. There's 2 million added to the prize pool. The first 2 days take place on Gold, and then if you make the top 100, everybody is sent to Las Vegas, where the top 100 is played out live at Win during the WPT World Championship Festival, and it is the coolest event that's taking place basically all year for WPT and Gold. So be sure to check that out. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're in Las Vegas, ready to battle on the strip in high stakes no limit against absolute legends. I buy into the 25-25 game for $10,000 Aria. I'll likely add on if things heat up, and they will. Tonight we're playing against Poker Hall of Famer Jennifer Harmon. Here's her photo hanging on the wall in Bobby's room at Bellagio, where she famously took on Andy Beal as part of the corporation. Jen is a 2-time bracelet winner with millions in tournament winnings and a lot more in cash game winnings. I've seen her around quite a bit over the years, but this is the first time I've sat at the same table with her. It's always fun for me to compete against people who I admired when I was just getting started in poker. We've got 5 figures in front of us. Play begins at 6:09 p.m. Within the first hour, we're dealt pocket kings in the big blind. If you're wondering why I've got a band-aid on my finger, it's because I woke up this morning only to find out a ghost had somehow shattered a glass bulb in the light fixture hanging above my kitchen table. The screw part of the bulb was still in the light fixture with jagged glass, making it tough for me to detach it. Like an idiot, I got in there without gloves, and I cut my finger pretty badly. Jen's on the button, she raises to 75. I'm told that her twin sons at SDSU and UNR watched the vlog. Dudes, you may want to close your eyes for this one. I 3-bet to 400. Jen is fearless. She didn't get this far in poker by giving up easy while on the button. She calls for 325 more. We're heads up, out of position. The flop comes Jack 6-5 with 2 diamonds. We've got an overpair to the board, but no diamond in our hand. I make a small bet of 250 for value and protection. Jen does a diamond check. Don't be fooled by the rocks that she's got. She's still Jenny from the block. No matter what, she knows where she came from. Reno. She folds. I let her know that we had the best hand. We're up a few hundred to start, and we take round 1. Not long after, we're dealt 8-7 suited in the under the gun straddle. The player on our left raises to 150. The big blind calls. We have the squid game on, so if a player wins 3 hands in a row, everyone at the table has to pay the winner $100 each. It's a progressive game, so if the player wins a 4th hand in a row, everyone pays $200 to the winner, then $300 for the 5th hand, and so on. The big blind has already won 2 hands in a row. We can't let him win a 3rd one. I call for 100 more. 3 of us are seeing the flop. It comes 9-7-3 with 2 hearts. We've got middle pair and some backdoor potential. The big blind checks. I check it to the initial pre-flop raiser. He checks it back. The turn is the 8 of hearts, completing the flush draw as well as some straights, but we pick up middle 2 pair. The big blind bets 150. He could have us beat, or more likely he's bluffing with hopes of getting some bonus money. I call. Under the gun +1 folds. Everyone at the table is rooting for us to win, so they don't have to pay out 100 each. It's down to heads up. The river is the 8 of clubs. We go runner boat. The big blind slows down and checks. We're going to be betting for value. I bet 400. The big blind might think that we're taking a stab with a missed draw, plus he has extra incentive to look us up light. He calls. The table will be happy to know that we aren't bluffing.
The full house.
No good.
Get him, Brad. For the village.
For the village.
For the village.
Yeah. We win the hand to save everyone in the village from having to pay. It's not always fun when your hand hits a boat, but in poker, it often is. About an hour later, we're dealt ace-king offsuit in the small blind. Jen raises to 75 from the hijack. She's won 2 hands in a row and she's looking for her third. Because of that, dynamics are slightly different than an ordinary hand. People are going to be getting involved much lighter. Jen could be playing any 2 cards. The cutoff calls. If he folds, he might have to pay a $100 penalty, so he might as well just put 75 in there now to give himself a chance to win the pot. The button understands that the players who have entered the pot ahead of him might have trash. He 3-bets to 400. The button raises and re-raises light at a high frequency, particularly when someone has 2 Squid Game buttons. We very likely have the best hand, or we're flipping at worst. I put in the cold 4-bet to 1700. The last time I played this game, I was in a similar situation, and I cold 4-bet with a raggedy offsuit ace. It worked out. The opponent who I cold 4-bet in that hand happens to be on our left in the big blind. He 5-bet rips it for 7,300 total. Sure, my 4-bet was cold, but this shove is below freezing. It's an ice rip. The hijack, cutoff, and button fold. We have removal of aces and kings, reducing the chances of being up against those hands by 50%. As long as we're not up against poker's number 1 hand, we'll at least have a decent chance at winning. With the current dynamics, I wouldn't be shocked if we're ahead, or more likely it's a flip. I call. We're not ahead. We're not flipping either. The opponent somehow wakes up with the goods at the best possible time. He has pocket aces, and I'm totally crushed, running ace-king into Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler, aka Rockets, for the second session in a row. It's early on in the night. I'm probably not going to win any portion of this pot no matter what, but I choose to run it twice to give ourselves a better chance at not being in the hole 7,000 from the start. Our opponent agrees to it. The first flop is 7-5-4 rainbow. It doesn't help us, even in the slightest. I'm rooting for a 6. The turn is the 8 of spades, putting 4 to the straight on board. It's in the spirit of what I wanted to see. The river is the 4 of hearts. I lose the first run out. The most I can win is half the pot, but even that is extremely unlikely. The second flop comes Queen 10 deuce with 2 spades. It's one of the better ones for us because we can avoid getting scooped if we hit Broadway. The turn is the 3 of spades. Neither of us are holding a spade in our hand. It's down to 1 final card. The river's the king of hearts. We hit top for nothing. I double up the opponent and lose 7,300. I pay him out of pocket. As I also add on, I'm in for 20,000 total. We're dealt ace-king offsuit once more, this time in the hijack. The straddle is on every hand from this point. I raise to 150. The button calls. Jen is the under-the-gun straddler. She's got a little over 3,000 in front of her. She's okay risking every bit of it as she 3-bet jams for 33.25 total. I doubt she'd be ripping it for that much if she had aces or kings. She'd wager a smaller amount to give herself a better shot at getting called. I call, not loving it and hoping that we don't run into aces again. The button folds. The question now is whether we should run it once or twice.
What do you want to do? Sure.
We're not sure what we're up against or what cards we need to fade, but we're running it 2 times. The first flop comes 8-5-4 rainbow. I hope we're not up against something like queens or jacks. The turn is the 10 of spades, still no help. The river is the 7 of spades. We end with ace high. I let Jen know that we've got big slick. She shows that she has ace king as well. It's a huge relief because it means we didn't just lose half the pot. The second flop is 8-7-5 rainbow. No one has a backdoor flush draw, so we're chopping this one as well. The turn is the 9 of hearts. The river doesn't matter. It's the 9 of spades. A chop is an okay result, but Jen put us to the ultimate test.
I just wanted to get him out.
I would have won actually both boards. I had Queen 8 of diamonds.
We've still got to play catch up when we're dealt ace 10 offsuit in the hijack. The player in middle position raises to 150. Generally, I'd fold our offsuit ace 10, but the opponent in the cutoff has 2 buttons. We can't let him win a third one, and we need the help of the village to ice him. I call. As expected, the cutoff calls to go for his third win. We're going 3 ways to the flop. It comes jiggity tiggity doogity with 2 diamonds. We've got middle pair, 1 over, and a backdoor straight draw. The initial pre-flop raiser checks. I check to the cutoff. The cutoff checks back. Our pair might be best. The turn is the 5 of clubs, putting a second flush draw out there. We'll have removal to the nuts if one more club falls. The middle position player bets 350. We could be in the lead, but maybe not. I call with intentions of possibly turning our hand into a bluff if the dealer puts out a third club and we face another bet. The cutoff folds. It's a positive outcome because we won't have to pay him any additional money once this hand ends. It's down to heads up. The river's the 10 of clubs, giving us trips and putting a third club out there. The board pairing with the backdoor flush getting there doesn't slow down our opponent at all. The middle position player bets 800. Remember how I told you if another club came, I might turn our ace-10 into a bluff? Well, I sort of lied. Our hand is definitely too good to bluff with now. I call. The opponent made his bet for value, but we've got him beat. We show our trips to claim the pot as we outdrew his pocket aces. I wish the river was something like the 8 of clubs, because then we would have made a sweet play that likely would have gotten the opponent to fold the best hand. Instead, we just make the best hand ourselves, and it's about 1/3 as much fun. At least we win this time against aces. A few minutes go by before we pick up 9-4 diamonds in the small blind. Under the gun +1 raises to 150. Jen has won 2 hands in a row. She's looking for her third as she calls in the hijack. The button calls. Typically I'd fold, but we've got to end Jen's run, otherwise it'll cost us at least $100. Also, I'm too big of a San Francisco fan to fold red 49ers. I call. The big blind calls. The under the gun straddler also calls. We're going a million ways to the flop. I'm sure everyone's at the top of their range. The flop comes Queen 5-5 rainbow. We don't connect with it at all, and I feel like an idiot for playing the hand. Maybe someone on the Niners is watching and can give me a free keychain or something for trying. Everyone checks though. I can rule out most of the table having trips or better. The turn is the deuce of diamonds, giving us a flush draw. If we've got a 4 in our range, you can only imagine the abundance of 5s we'll have. I rep trips with a bet of 650. The opponents I'm most worried about actually having a 5 are on our left. The big blind folds, under the gun folds quickly as well. That's followed by an under the gun +1 fold. Jen folds in the hijack. This is shaping up pretty well. The button is the very last person to get through. He also folds. We get the semi-bluff through. The 49ers find a way to prevail when the odds are stacked against them. It's obviously much easier to win when the refs aren't piling in money on the Chiefs. The very next hand, we're dealt ace-queen offsuit, looking for win number 2 in a row to ideally then win a third and some bonus money. We've got the button. A player in middle position raises to 150. I'm more than happy to play our Broadway cards. I call. 3-betting would have also been reasonable. We're heads up. The flop is ace, jack, deuce, all spades. We've got top pair with the flush draw, and since we didn't 3-bet pre-flop, our opponent shouldn't suspect that we're as strong as we are. The middle position player checks. I get the sense that he's weak since we have removal to a lot of very strong combos. I check back for deception. This board is mostly just going to get better for us, so the check could hopefully induce a bluff down the road. The turn is the king of clubs, which is one of the worst cards for us because the opponent might have a straight, set, or 2 pair. There's a chance that he'll have a flush, but it's tough for him to have one when he opens from middle position and a lot of the high spades are accounted for. He's going to at least rep a monster with a large size bet of 350. It's possible we're beat, but we checked back flop with hopes that it would induce a bluff, and that might be what's happening. I call without feeling quite as confident, but there are still a number of cards that'll help us improve. The river's the 7 of hearts. It's a total blank. We don't improve, but perhaps our top pair with the best kicker is still good enough to win it. The opponent still has no reason to suspect that we've got ace-queen, particularly after we checked back flop. He bets 675. I'm okay with that amount. I was willing to put in even more. I call with the yellow bird. The opponent mucks his cards right away without showing. Our check back on the flop clearly induced a double barrel bluff. We win 1,000 more than we probably would have if we'd bet the flop. What's even better is we've now won 2 hands in a row. We're only 1 win away from bonus money.
2 buttons.
Thank you.
Bumper.
We're in the cutoff with King Jack 10-4 Badoogie for you mixed nuts out there. 7 of us put in $100 each and we're going straight to 2 flops. This PLO double board bomb pot doesn't count as part of the squid game, so if I win, I won't get any bonus money. The squid game will resume during normal poker play the next hand. The first flop comes 8-6 deuce rainbow. We've got absolutely nothing. The second flop is King Queen 9 with 2 clubs. We've got the nuts with our Jack 10, but we have to be concerned about the board pairing, the flush draw getting there, or a higher straight completing. Checks to us. I'm concerned that if we check, someone will improve to beat us. We need to fold out equity. I bet 700, the maximum. Ideally, everyone will fold and we'll win the entire pot on this street without even having a pair on the top board. Jen spoils our plan. She calls middle position. She's the only one. It's down to heads up. We should have her beat on the second board. The top turn is the 3 of clubs. I like seeing a club get used there. The bottom turn is the deuce of hearts. It's a total blank, and we retain the nuts. Jen checks. Her call on the flop doesn't convey a ton of strength. She might fold if we exert a little more pressure. I potted again, this time for 2100 to really put her to the test. If we can get her to fold anything, it's a big win for us. Jen doesn't buckle. She calls, which I'm not excited to see. It's now a lot more likely that she's going to win at least 3/4. It's not inconceivable that she could have the same straight as us and clubs and have the top board locked up already. I'm not planning to put any additional chips in the pot. I want to get to showdown and hope that we win half. The top river is the 6 of diamonds pairing the board. The bottom river is the 10 of diamonds, which is a very bad card for us because now ace-jack improves to the nuts, and we could definitely be up against an ace-jack of clubs type of hand. Also, there are a lot more combos that improve to a king-high straight that now chop the second board with us. Jen checks. There's a 5k cap post-flop in these bomb pots, so the most we can bet is 2200 if we want to go that route. I don't see any huge benefit in doing it. I play it safe and I check. We don't get the news that we wanted to hear.
Yeah, you get 3/4.
Jen shows King Jack 9-8 with 3 clubs. She has top pair on the top board where we have nothing. On the bottom board, she flopped 2 pair with a straight flush draw. She ends up hitting the gutter ball 10 to give her the same straight as us. Ultimately, we lose around 1300 during the bomb pot. We still have 2 Squid Game buttons though from the 2 hands that we won prior to this, so we have a shot at winning some bonus money. We're dealt pocket 5s the next hand in the cutoff. The button doesn't move after a bomb pot, so it's the second hand in a row that we've got this position. I want to win the pot and disincentivize anyone from coming in light behind us. I raise to 200, which is slightly more than my normal opening size. The button calls to end our run. The small blind is Mike Zolker. He's got a ton of tournament success lately, including getting second place for over 900,000 in the 10K PLO WSOP event over summer, and more recently, he won a Poker Go event for 157,000 within the last few weeks. He's not afraid to inflate pots. He probably suspects that we're not very strong. C3 bets to 1,500. We've got a real hand. Not only are we getting about 1.5 to 1, we'll get an additional several hundred from our opponents if we can pull out a third victory. I call. I'm not entirely sure Mike has all that strong of a hand either. The button folds. It's down to heads up with multiple thousands already in the middle. I haven't been hitting a lot of sets lately. This would be a great time to end that streak. The flop comes Jack 6-3 with 2 spades. We've got third pair, some backdoor draws, and maybe just enough to lose a lot more money. The small blind down bets to 1,050. He could only have ace high, or he could have an overpair set. It's tough for us to know for certain. I still can't fold to a small bet, especially when we've got position. I call to see how the opponent wants to approach the turn. The dealer puts out the 10 of diamonds, which doesn't help us at all. The opponent doesn't like that we called his flop bet. He slows down and checks. It's now way more likely that we've got the winning hand and we're up against ace high. I check back with aspirations of getting to showdown, hoping that our 5s are good in a pot over $5,000. The river's the 8 of hearts. Maybe the run out hasn't improved the opponent's hand. He checks once more. I'm not turning our hand into a bluff when our pair has value. I check back immediately. The small blind shows ace-queen offsuit. We turn over our pocket pair to win everything in the middle, plus 100 more from each player at the table. I wasn't very confident that our 5s would hold after seeing the flop, but we hung on for dear life, and the speed limit gets the job done as we now prepare to win 4 in a row to keep our streak alive and get $200 from each player at the table if we can get another victory. We're only down 2,000 at the moment. We've got queen 9 offsuit in the hijack. The middle position player raises to 150. Literally everyone except under the gun +1 calls to try and play defense against us, so they'll no longer have to pay out penalty money. We're going 7 ways to the flop. It comes queen jack 8, all hearts. It's not the worst for us. We've got top pair and a gutter ball, but all the hearts out there are not great to see. It checks to the player on our left in the cutoff. He makes an attempt to clear out the field with a small bet at 300. The button, small blind, big blind, and under the gun fold. The middle position player calls. We'll get the pot and an additional 1,400 if we can win. I call to see the turn. The dealer puts out the jack of spades pairing the board. The middle position player checks. We don't improve. I check. The cutoff doesn't like the extra jiggity. He checks back. We're seeing a free river. The river's the 10 of spades. We drill the gutter going for our 4th win in a row. The player on our right might like it as well. He bets 500. I actually don't like seeing this bet because we're likely chopping or losing. I call. The cutoff folds. The player on our right has a monster hitting runner full house with Jack 10 offsuit. It's the worst run out possible for us to lose several hundred, but it could have been a lot worse. We sort of lose the minimum. Our winning streak is over. It was cool while it lasted. In this one, we pick up ace-king suited in the cutoff. The hijack raises to 150. We're going to be making it more. I 3-bet to 500 in order to get a new win streak going. The small blind gives us no respect. He cold 4-bets to 1500. He shouldn't be doing this light. The hijack folds. We're playing deep, in position with a premium and potentially the best hand. I don't want to 5-bet, then somehow run into kings or aces again and have to read the comments about it all week. I call for 1,000 more, which should make it tough for our opponent to win this pot if we connect at all. We're heads up. The flop comes 5-4 deuce with 2 hearts. We've got 2 overs and a gutter, but we don't have a heart in our hand. It's not the best situation. The small blind makes things worse with a c-bet of 1,600. The problem for us is that the hands he's supposed to be bluffing with, his pre-flop 4-bet, are hands like ace-5 and ace-4 suited. Those hands have us in terrible shape, especially if he has hearts. With no heart in our hand, we're supposed to fold the majority of the time. I don't like having to do it, but I fold. The opponent is Mike Zolker again. He'd later tell me that he got a bluff through with ace-queen and 1 heart. It's a hand he's not really supposed to have, but he wins a significant chunk from me. About 4 hours into the session, we're dealt a couple of ducks under the gun +1. I raised to 150. The under the gun straddler has won 2 hands in a row. We've got to fight back. The rest of the table knows what time it is. The cutoff, button, small blind, and big blind all call. I've seen the under the gun player go for a 3-bet squeeze in a similar situation previously without much of a hand. He's got more incentive to do it now, and he's going for it. He 3-bets to 1,000. Under the gun has 7,000 total in the stack. There are a couple things going on right now. First is that I doubt the under the gun straddler happens to have a monster. I'm the most likely person to be holding a very strong hand since I opened from early position when I was first to act. The rest of the players only called my pre-flop raise, which caps them at medium strength hands at best. More likely they're pretty weak. I have a solid image. I'm going to lean into it.
3,300.
Our 4-bet causes everyone in between me and the squeezer to fold. Under the gun doesn't think about it for very long either. We catch him making a move, and we fight fire with fire. He folds as well. We have to show that we 4-bet with Gordon Bombay's favorite hand to win all the chips. Most of the table's happy except the under the gun straddler and also the small blind who says that he folded pocket 7s. We're doing another PLO double board bomb pot with ace-8, 6-4, and 3 clubs. We're under the gun with 5 opponents. The first flop is ace-ace-3 with 2 hearts. We've got trips. What's even better is that the bottom flop is ace-jack-7 with 2 clubs where we've got top pair and a flush draw. Every single ace is accounted for, so we don't need to worry about someone having us outkicked. Plus, we have redraws to monsters. There's a good chance that we'll improve on one or both boards, so we don't need to bet for protection. Everyone checks. Maybe we can hit a full house and a flush while we induce a bluff. The top turn is the deuce of spades. It doesn't help us much except we pick up a gut shot straight draw. The bottom turn is the 5 of diamonds, which is good because it reduces the likelihood that we're up against a wheel on top, and we pick up a ridiculous wrap. Any 3, 4, 6, 8, or 9 will give us a straight, while any club will still give us a flush, and we have top pair that isn't duplicable. The small blind pots it for 600. I like seeing that. The big blind calls. There's a strong possibility that we'll hit the nuts on at least one board. It's good for us to have multiple opponents, so I'm not going to raise. I call to keep players in. Then we'll make our move once the river cards come out if we improve. It's down to 3 of us. The first river is the 5 of hearts where we improve to a straight, but overall it's awful because the heart flush gets there and maybe we're up against a full house of some sort. The bottom river is the 10 of hearts completing Broadway. We started out with a very promising hand on both boards. We end up with a medium strength hand at best. The small blind bets 1,000. The big blind calls. We've got blockers to the nuts on the top board, but that's really it. I'm somewhat tempted to turn our hand into a bluff, but I don't want to run into a hand like King Queen of Hearts that's never folding. We're not strong enough to call either. I'm disappointed, but I try to stay disciplined.
I somehow managed to get the absolute worst run out for this hand. I fold.
Oh, that's good for me. Hold back. I have jacks.
Despite missing everything, I managed to lose the minimum. The small blind improved on the top river to a queen high flush. He actually outflopped me on the second board, holding jack 7 for bottom 2 pair. The The big blind ultimately ends up winning half the pot with a set of jacks. We had tons of potential, but it doesn't materialize. Next, we're dealt 4 deuce of spades in middle position. The under the gun straddlers won 2 hands in a row. The village needs to organize in order to defeat him before he wins the 3rd hand. I initially tried to limp in for 50 in an attempt to see a cheap flop and play team defense, but there's a rule that's been implemented in this game, so you're not allowed to open limp from any position, not even the small blind. You either have to raise to 3 or more times the straddle amount, or you have to fold. I'm forced to raise to 150, but that's okay. Probably looks like I've got some sort of small pocket pair, maybe something like aces or ace king that I was trying to limp with as a trap with hopes of putting in a limp 3-bet since there's a good chance someone would try to raise behind me. The hijack button and under the gun straddler all call. We're going 4 ways to the flop. It comes ace 5 deuce rainbow. We've got bottom pair and a gutter, but what I'm most excited about is that this absolutely smashes the range that we would have tried to open limp with, since aces and ace king are monsters on this flop, as are pocket deuces and pocket 5s. Plus, we have removal to bottom set and a straight. Under the gun checks. I'm going to make an attempt to steal this one. I bet 300. If anyone has a strong ace, they probably would have 3-bet pre-flop, so I'm not too concerned about being up against hands like ace king, ace queen, or ace jack. The hijack calls. Sometimes he plays trappy with strong combos, so I don't like seeing him call right away, but I also don't see how he'll have a set or straight very often, so it's more likely to me that he just has an ace with a medium kicker, or maybe a hand like pocket 3s that he wants to see one more card with. The button folds. The under the gun straddler is the player I'd like to see fold the most because I don't want to lose the hand, then have to pay him a $100 bonus after. He calls though. He could be really weak and only have backdoor draws or a gutter to the wheel. 3 of us are still in. The turn is the 8 of hearts. It's mostly a blank, except now there's a flush draw on the board. Under the gun checks. Sure, we got a couple callers with our bet before, but we didn't see anything from them indicating that we have too much to worry about. A second barrel should generate folds from a lot of 1-pair hands. I go large with a bet of 1100. This is when I'd expect the hijack to spring the trap with a straight or set. If he raises, we'll just fold. There's no raise though. The opponent calls, which is kind of surprising. He might have a hand like ace 7 of hearts that picked up a flush draw to go along with top pair. If he had anything better than 1 pair, he likely would raise to win the pot before another heart comes, or a card that completes 1 or more straights. The under the gun straddler also calls. It's possible both players are on big draws. All 3 of us make it to the river. It's the king of clubs, which is by far best for us as the pre-flop raiser. Under the gun checks. The major draws have all missed. Perhaps someone has a hand like ace 10, but if I fire a 3rd barrel and the 2 opponents, I don't see how they could ever call. The hijack is the most likely person to have top pair, and it'd be even tougher for him to call another bet with the under the gun straddler still to act. I'm going for it. I bet 4,000, sliding 2 stacks of black chips into the middle. I've only got 6,000 behind. I was hoping to see a snap fold from the hijack, who definitely doesn't have top set or top 2 pair. Again, I think it'd be rare for him to have better than 1 pair. His actions are saying something different though. He shoves for 10,000 effective. I guess he must have flopped a straight, maybe with 4-3 of hearts, so he wasn't too concerned about the backdoor flush draw getting there. Or somehow he has a set of 5s. There's only one possible combo of pocket deuces. For him to have that hand, he would have needed to play it incredibly patiently while getting a perfect run out. Under the gun folds. There's no way we're calling. We don't even beat bluffs like pocket 3s or 4s. And I don't think there's any way that this is a bluff given how it was played and the fact that this jam isn't for too much more than what I wagered already. I fold. The only good news is that we don't have to pay out any bonus money. It only cost me about $5,500 to avoid paying out $100. I turn over the 4 deuce. You never see what the hijack ripped with, but he later tells me that he had pocket deuces for the last remaining combo bottom set. I tried to play into my image and my perceived range, but it backfires. Now it's after midnight and I'm at the low point, stuck around 14,000. Here we pick up king queen suited under the gun +1. I raised to 150. We're currently playing 7-handed. The player on our left, who jammed in the last hand against us, calls from the hijack. He's won the last 2 hands in a row, and he's looking for his 3rd. The cutoff, button, small blind, and big blind call our raise to play team defense. We've got a chance for a family pot, but the under the gun straddler 3-bets to 1,000. This is the same opponent who tried to 3-bet squeeze earlier when we 4-bet holding pocket deuces, and he folded quickly. We've got a real hand against someone who puts on the 3-bet squeeze pretty regularly. I'm not in a hurry to part ways with our suited Broadway cards. I call for 850 more. Everyone else folds, including the hijack on our left, who has to return his 2 Squid Game buttons. We're seeing a flop heads up in position with a couple thousand in the middle. The flop comes king 9-5 with 2 spades. We've got top pair, which is hopefully in the lead. If the opponent happens to have ace king, aces, or pocket nines, we're in massive trouble. Under the gun down bet to 700. We're probably best, but I don't want to let the opponent see a turn card for only 700 if he has some kind of ace-x of spades type of combo that he's trying to advance cheaply with. I go a route that I don't often take. I make a small raise to 1700 to steal the betting lead from the opponent and put him in a terrible spot if he has a hand like pocket queens, jacks, or tens. We'll fold out gutter balls that don't have flush or backdoor flush potential, and since this is not a situation many opponents are familiar with, the under the gun player might not know how to properly respond, which could result in him getting out of line. He might also just have us crush with aces or ace king.
I want everybody to be like that. Yeah, floating with ace 4 off or whatever.
What do you have?
No,
I'm bluffing.
3 off.
You're bluffing? That's good. It's up to you. It's up to you.
I don't think you raise that hand. Nice.
Twice?
Can we flip it though?
Sure.
Twice is good.
I'm punting.
Okay.
Can we?
Nice hand.
The opponent shows red 8s. He's drawing dead to 2 outs or runner straight. Our tiny raise on the flop froze him into doing something wild with snowmen. We're playing over a $15,000 pot, and we only need to fade a few cards. It's about as good of a situation as it gets. The first turn is the 5 of clubs pairing the board. The river is the 10 of clubs. We secure half the pot while we go into the second run out. The turn is the 7 of spades, giving our opponent a gut shot straight draw. He can win with any 8 or 6. I knew I should have ran it once. Running it twice never helps me. The river's the 7 of diamonds, though it looks way too much like a card that would help him improve. But we scoop a massive 5-figure all-in pot to get back on track. I never added on after the 4 deuce of spades bluff. I'm still only in for 20,000, so this is an important win to help us get closer to the even mark. We get a count at both of our stacks to confirm that the opponent has us covered. It's a full double up for us. The opponent pays us out of pocket for the 65-25. We win the exact type of hand that we needed to pump some life into us. Next, we're dealt pocket jiggities in the small blind. Under the gun +1 raises to 150. Cutoff puts in a small 3-bet to 400. The button calls to 400. Everyone plays fast and loose in this game. After going quite a while without starting with a premium, we've got something to punish our opponents with. I cold 4-bet to 2200. It's a fairly large sizing. The initial preflop raiser folds. The cutoff tanks for a long time. Eventually he folds. The button folds as well. The cutoff sees the jiggities and says that he had 2 overs, which is great because King Queen is the exact type of hand that we hope will fold to our 4-bet. We win a little over 1,000. Is a comeback brewing? It's 1:48 in the morning. That doesn't mean it's too late to book a win though. This is when the action typically starts ramping up. If we can start hitting big hands, we can easily win several thousand. At 2:52 a.m., we're dealt ace-3 suited in the under the gun straddle. The hijack raises to 150. The cutoff calls. The small blind 3-bets to 600. He's been active tonight. We could make life simpler and just fold. That doesn't sound like fun at all though. I cold 4-bet to 1600 with removal to aces and ace-king. The hijack and cutoff fold quickly. We don't get the small blind to cave in quite so easily. He calls for 1,000 more. We're taking this one to the post-flop streets. We've got a hand that plays just fine in position when we've got the betting lead. The flop comes king 9-8 rainbow. We've currently got nothing, but a king high flop is decent for us as the 4-better. We'll regularly have hands like aces, ace-king, and pocket kings. The small blind checks. I can rule out our opponent having the hands that I just mentioned because he would have likely 5-bet with them from out of position. I down bet to 1,300. Even if the opponent has queens or jacks, he's already not going to like seeing our c-bet. The small blind doesn't look thrilled, but he calls one time. There's a chance that he could have top pair, or maybe suited Broadway cards that have a gut shot with the backdoor flush draw. The turn is the 4 of diamonds, giving us the flush draw. The small blind checks. As much as I'd like to see if we can hit a flush, I don't want to have to solely rely on doing that to win the pot. I keep up the heat, announcing a bet of 3,300. It takes a little while to get all the black chips in there. That's okay. Our opponent needs some time to contemplate how he wants to go about this. I just hope that he doesn't do anything wild like shove. He folds instead.
Like, you got it, bro. Add your hand. The jiggity?
I got that one through.
Good turn. You got one.
He
through.
got that one through.
River.
Ace three of
Ace three of
diamonds.
diamonds.
Oh, wow.
One of our opponents asked to see what the river would have been, and it's the 7 of diamonds. We would have backdoored the nuts just when I thought that we stole the pot by risking $6,000. It turns out we would have made more if we had gotten called. It's not a time when we actually wanted to get there.
Did not get that one through. Good job, Ben.
Damn it.
Good call.
It sucked to
So,
get there.
why did you do that?
Because Shiva asked.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
The very next hand we're dealt King Jack suited in the big blind. The small blind raises to 200. This is the opponent who bluff jammed with pocket eights against us on the King 9-5 flop earlier. I'd like to play heads up against him in position. I 3-bet to 600, going for our second win in a row. After seeing us cold 4-bet ace 3 suited right before this, our 3-bets aren't getting quite as much respect. The small blind 4-bets to 1700. We're in position and not shying away. I call for 1100 more to close the action. We're heads up with a chance to get unstuck if we win this pot. The flop comes 6-5-4 with 2 spades. It's hideous for us. Small blind shouldn't like it a whole lot either because it's not great for his 4-bet range, but he downbets to 800. I'm extremely tempted to put in a tiny raise again since I'm sure the opponent is still haunted by the shove that he made with third pair. We really have complete air though, not even backdoor draws. I fold.
When you win.
What
about,
when you have it? You
I
got
can't-
like long hair.
He shoved out of
Or at
been in
least,
pain.
like, besides the
If you had min raised me, I'd have been in such pain.
Are you sure? Are you
I
sure
almost
Vicky? Are you sure
But
Vicky
it was too bad of a hand.
adopted you?
We're 9 hours into the session when we pick up Queen Jack suited in the big blind. The hijack raises to 150. The cutoff puts in a tiny 3-bet to 300. It's a strange spot for us, but we're hanging in there. I cold call the 3-bet. The under the gun straddler grabs chips. He makes the call. We don't want to see a 4-bet from the initial pre-flop raiser in the hijack. Luckily, he only calls as well. We're going 4 ways to the flop, out of position. It comes Queen Jack 9 with 2 hearts and a diamond. We've got top 2 pair and a backdoor flush draw. I check. Under the gun checks. The hijack will give the pre-flop raiser a chance to bet at it. He checks. The cutoff doesn't take the bait. He checks back. The turn is the 8 of diamonds, giving us everything to go with our 2 pair, but they're now 4 to the straight on board. Our hand strangely improves, but is downgraded at the same time. I check. Under the gun checks. The hijack must have a 10. He goes to his stack, grabs a handful of black chips, and bets 900. The cutoff thinks it over. He folds though. I know we're behind, but there are tons of outs for us. I call the 900 to see if we can hit the river. Under the gun would like to play, but he can't justify hanging in there. He folds. It's got to be pretty clear that we've either got a 10 or we're on a strong draw. We're down to heads up, and the hijack just has to be holding a 10. The river is the 10 of diamonds, giving us a straight flush to the queen with a straight on board. In 9 years of making poker vlogs, I've only ever captured 2 straight flushes in normal Texas Hold'em hands. This is pretty special, but how do we make the most money? The problem for us is that it's way more likely that we'll have a flush than our opponent. We know nearly for certain that he's got a 10 in his hand, and clearly not the 10 of diamonds, so it's impossible for him to have a flush. He's likely playing the board, so if we bet anything, he has to seriously consider folding. I go somewhat small with a bet of 1200 to all but guarantee that we'll make some money. We might even induce a light raise if the opponent thinks that we're chopping, but he happens to have something like ace-10 offsuit with the ace of diamonds. The opponent doesn't hesitate, he calls.
Straight flush.
I knew I was going to lose this hand somehow.
The opponent shows king 10 of hearts. He flopped the nuts with an open-ended straight flush draw, yet somehow we backdoor the straight flush and get paid. The hijack actually wasn't playing the board since he has the straight to the king. For that reason, I wish that I would have bet more, but with him having removal to the heart flush draw, it becomes way more likely that I'll have diamonds, so maybe he wouldn't have called a bet that's too much bigger. I'm content to ensure that our straight flush doesn't go to waste. We've got over 18,000 in front of us. We're still only in for 20,000, so I'm well within striking distance of Profitville. We run a little cold before picking up 8-5 suited in the small blind. I won the previous hand, so I've got a Squid Game button in front of me as we go for 2 wins in a row. The button raises to 150. Ordinarily, I'd fold this combo without thinking about it, but we're going for bonus money. I call. The big blind calls. It's the incredible Zolk. The under the gun straddler calls as well. We're going 4 ways to the flop. It comes 6-5-3 with 2 hearts. We've got middle pair and a backdoor straight draw. I check. The big blind will probably connect with this flop, occasionally hitting sets, 2 pair or top pair. He bets 300. Under the gun folds. The button isn't too far behind. He folds as well. I wish we had a little more going for us, like a backdoor flush draw, but with the squid game potential, I call once to see if we can pick something else up. It's down to 2 of us. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, giving us a gutter and a removal to the nuts. I check. The way we played this so far, it looks like we might have 8-7 for the straight. Maybe we'll at least get to see a free river. The incredible Zolk doesn't give free rivers. He bets 9.25. The big blind is often aggressive. We're playing short-handed and have to fight for pots even more. I wouldn't be surprised if we're only up against a semi-bluff of some sort, perhaps just a heart draw. Our opponent is representing 2 pair or better. He bet flop, then top pair was significantly downgraded with the turn, but the big blind fires a second bullet anyway as if he's not afraid of the overcard 9. We know it's unlikely that our opponent has the nuts, and we have removal to set and 2 pair combos as well, so it's tougher for him to have those hands. I don't see how he could call a pre-flop raise with 7-4 or 4 deuce when I only have 1 squid game button in front of me. If I was going for my 3rd win in a row, it'd be different, and he could have a lot more junk. I don't believe the big blind has what he's representing, but I don't want to call, then have to face another larger bet on the river while the opponent has a chance to improve. I put in a big check raise to 3,100. The big blind might have something like pocket 4s, ace 4, 5-4, or 6-4, which would be drawing dead to what we're representing. I don't anticipate getting re-raised because it's so unlikely that our opponent has a straight. The big blind has 10,350 total. It looks like we might have gotten ourselves into a game of chicken. What could the big blind even have? He's representing 8-7, but if he had that, he'd probably call my check raise sometimes to give me a chance to bluff everything off. Maybe he rips it with a set, but again, we've got removal to a ton of big hands that he'd be jamming for value. What if he just has a combo draw with a hand like ace-8, ace-7, or ace-4 of hearts? Maybe he just has pocket 4s. Is there a chance that our pair of 5s is the best hand? Generally, 3rd pair would be a snap fold to a shove, but our opponent is very capable of making big moves, and we've already seen 3-bet jams post-flop for piles as a bluff with pocket 8s on a king-high board. The more I think about it, the tougher it is to get away from our pair of 5s.
Jeez, I just feel like I have the best hand here. Ugh. And I was like bluffing. I have 8-5.
I table our pair to show the last remaining people how light I'm contemplating making a call for what's become a large 5-figure pot. I've been in the tank for 3 minutes. It's the longest I can remember ever tanking in a cash game before. There are hands that the opponent could be bluffing with that have me in terrible shape though. I'd feel like an idiot if he just shows up with something like 6-4 or 7-6, which is fitting because this is such a 6-7 spot. If we're up against a combo draw containing hearts, we're not ahead by that much, and it's also not impossible for him to have 8-7. I fold.
Alright, Mike, nice hand. You deserve it, man.
You deserve it. Nice hand, Mike.
What do we have, Mike?
Pick one.
They're both 4s, huh? Yeah. Show us the other 4. Show us the other 4. 4s? Yeah. Yeah. I almost called.
Called on in 6.
I lose several thousand only to get bluffed out of my shoes by pocket 4s. At least that's what I think. Mike flashed the cards so quickly, I only saw the 2 pips at the top of his red card, and I couldn't imagine he played 7-4 offsuit, so I thought that we got way outplayed in a game of chicken, and he got a move through with a pair below ours and removal to the straight. But Mike told me to rewatch the video, and if we rewind it, we see that his red card is indeed the 7 of diamonds. I don't know why Mike called a pre-flop raise with 7-4 offsuit, but he flopped the nuts, while I did several things that I didn't have to do also. It pays off for him. I appreciate him showing you guys for the vlog as well. I lose several thousand that I didn't have to lose late in the session. It doesn't get any better for me either. I lose 3/4 of a capped PLO double board bomb pot after turning the same full house as Mike on one flop, while he has me barely beat on the second board. I was so close to getting all the way out of a big hole that I dug myself in. I actually almost got out of a 5-figure hole twice, but during the last hour of play, I go right back to the lowest point. I rack up with only 6,000 in front of me. It's after 4 in the morning. My routine with the family is now going to be all messed up due to this late session. I have nothing to show for my time in the poker room except a $14,000 loss after 10 hours of play. It's a frustrating ending. There's no cash out shot today. I exchanged my chips for a Bellagio flag that we'll be putting to use in Bobby's room that you'll see in the next video. You won't want to miss that one. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Helps out the channel a ton. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to get back to you. Don't forget to join Gold. There are so many cool opportunities on there right now, including the Mystery Quest with 2 million added to the prize pool. There is the Brad Owen Open, where if you join using my name, Brad, you have an opportunity to get a 1K bonus if you get in the top 3. That takes place 6 days a week. And then there are all sorts of satellites on Gold. And if you join using my name, you get the purchase bonus as well. I have more information down below in the description box, but you can play in pretty much every state in the US and now Canada. So I was actually gonna go to Toronto earlier in November, but my flight was canceled due to air traffic control restrictions is what I was told. And I wasn't able to make it out there, but the Toronto Game Poker Club, they gave me this gift that they had. It is a Blue Jays jersey with my name on the back. Really sorry I wasn't able to make it out there, but I'm gonna try to make it out there as soon as possible, hopefully in the first like 3 or 4 months of the year. And then my buddy Dan, who is facilitating like all the communication back and forth with the club, he gave me this this Leafs jersey. So I love getting, you know, sports memorabilia. I've got a ton on the back wall, and I try to attend sports events like anywhere that I travel to whenever I'm able to. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and hope you're staying safe. Good luck with the tables. Maybe I'll see you, you know, either on Gold or at the Win in December for the World Championship. I'm gonna be playing nearly every day. And don't forget to check out that mini vlog that I have on the Brado and Clips channel of me winning the satellite to the WPT World Championship. All right, guys, see ya.